Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final day of the first qualifier tournament. This is it. This is the final showdown that is going to decide who's going to go directly into the main event, who is going to go into the next qualifier, and who is going to leave us for good. And just to remind you about the rules, if you're in places 1 to 6, you're good to go. You will get directly into the main event. If you're in place 7 or 8, you will have to play in the qualifier tournament, and there's going to be 20 participants in places 7 or 8, competing for only 4 places that they can get to the final tournament. And if you're in places 9 or 10, you're going to be gone for good. You're going to leave the tournament at this stage. So without further ado, let us jump into the Group 1. Here are the standings in Group 1. Orion, surprisingly, of all the lords in the first place, I didn't expect him to be there. Loki Felhard and Dredos the Ashen are sharing the second place, and Kairos, Fate Weaver, and Marathi are the ones that will probably leave us if they don't manage to change something in this round. So let us jump into the first match. Alright, let us jump into the first match. This is going to be Orion versus Dredos the Ashen. Now, Orion, the surprising leader of the first group, has a slight advantage over Dredos the Ashen. I would say he has the bonus versus anti-large. And Dredos the Ashen, I think he is still gonna fight on his mount because he's so much better on his mount than without it. And maybe he will be able to finally beat Orion. So far, Loki Felhard was the only one who managed to beat Orion. Dredos charges into Orion. Both of them take quite a bit of damage. Orion takes quite a lot of damage. Look at that. He goes almost down to half HP. He's down to 4,500 health. Dredos is looking very healthy. Let's look at his abilities. He has a blazing body. That's going to give him a little bit of physical resistance and melee damage reduction. That is good, but it looks like it's going to take a while for him to charge. Hellshot Amulet, plus 10% ward save. 20 melee damage reflection, very nice, a very useful ability. And the Demon Spite Crucible, that is kind of pointless. Orion has Frenzy, Orion has 75 melee attack, 530 unbuffed weapon strength, which is a lot, and his secret weapon, let's look at that, that is the Cloak of Isha. If his hit points are less than 25%, he's gonna start healing up, and it looks like Orion is about to go down to that stage. He's at 2100, Dredos is down to 3900, and there it is. Orion is at 1700, but he is starting to heal up at a very, very nice rate of 15 health points per second. So Dredos needs to be very quick about doing the damage that he wants to do to Orion, and it looks like Dredos is right down to 1700. Orion is sitting at 1300. So the question is whether Dredos will be able to land the strikes on Orion very, very quickly. Let's continue watching this. Orion is down to 1300, but Dredos is already at 800. He's at 500, and he loses the first match to Orion. He couldn't do the damage quick enough. Let's jump into the second match between these two, as again Dredos is charging into Orion with his huge anti-lash bonus, and he also has 20% physical resistance. That's not going to matter in this match, as Dredos has magical attacks, and he also has flaming attacks to stop Orion a little bit from healing. So Dredos is actually probably one of the best lords to counter Orion. He doesn't have the anti-lash bonus, but otherwise he should be pretty good to tackle everything that Orion has. Orion, by the way, is unbreakable, so if people are wondering why is he not starting to route this health, Orion is unbreakable. He just doesn't lose his leadership, and that is a huge problem for other lords. Plus 20% ward save. Cloak of Isha also gives him 20% ward save and regeneration for days that other lords are going to have to fight through. Orion is down to 1400 this time. Looks like Dredos might be able to take him down. He's down to 1200, 900. Dredos is at 3800. Orion is Orion is down to 6900. Sorry, 6900, 600, 700. Orion is not looking good in this match. Maybe this will be the second participant from first group who will be able to take down Orion, but looks like he just he's not landing the last few strikes. Orion is down to 200 health. Dredos is at 1900, so I think maybe this is going to be it for Orion, unless Dredos misses his strikes. And Dredos, what is he doing? He's trying to do a sideways attack on Orion. I'm not sure if the Bale Taurus can hit him with the side or like the flaming, what are these, like the lanterns with the goblins on the sides. I never noticed he had that, but that does it down to 700. Orion is at 400. He cannot let us strike Orion, and Orion wins this one. Dreados, what were you doing? What is this sidewalk attack? I have no idea what he was doing, but he looks very bloodied and very sad and disappointed in this match, as he should be, because the victory was right in his hands and he lost it 2-0 to Orion. Let's look at another match from the qualifier. This is going to be Lokia Felhard versus Eltharion the Grim, the battle in the skies. Lokia Felhard has almost 1,700 more health, a little bit more weapon strength, so not really much of a difference. Eltharion has 40% physical resistance from the Fang Sword form of Eltharion, so that would help him. But Lokia Felhard has obviously the huge advantage of regeneration. He's going to regenerate a lot more health. So he also has the dreaded duelist bonus. Lokia Felhard is in I think he's in a very nice position. He has the Deadly Onslaught, he has the Foe Seeker, and he's just able to pretty much outlast most opponents thanks to his huge regeneration and very nice start. So let's start looking at this match, and you can see I think the problem that Eltharion is facing, he doesn't have any regeneration, he doesn't have any physical resistance, he has no way to do damage to Lokia quick enough. Lokia is down to 6,000, but Eltharion is down to 2,600, so he needs to do something quick to make a comeback in this matchup. Lokia is still around 6,000, Eltharion is down to 2,000 health. He is going to 900 health. He's using his Helm of Ivres ability to make sure he is unbreakable, but Lokia is still sitting at almost 2/3 of his health, though. It doesn't look too good for Eltharion, and I don't think he has any other ways to turn this around. Looks like he's gonna lose this, and the second match is going to go exactly the same way, so Eltharion is gonna lose both matches to, let's look at that, to to the mighty Lokia Felhard, who is sitting in a very I would say this is a very uncomfortable position. Let's look at that. Yeah, he doesn't wear his seatbelt. It doesn't. Yeah, he's. If I was sitting on the dragon, I would just hold on to like some spikes or something, not sit like that. It looks like he's gonna fall off at any minute, but maybe he is used to that. And Lokia Felhard anyway takes the victory over Eltharion. 2-0 for Lokia Felhard. Let's look at the other matches in Group 1. Marathi loses to Erzeg the Slaughterer, who finally managed to hit his stride after a very rocky start. Nakai the Wanderer beats the crap out of Volkmar the Grim. Also, not surprisingly, Volkmar is not really that much of a fighter. And Teklas managed to beat Kairos Fateweaver thanks to 4 healing potions that he is carrying with him, and also to his Arcane Phoenix. So here are the final standings in this group after all the matches have been played. Orion in the first place is the leader of this group, still unbeatable. Only Lokia Felhard managed to win the only match against him. Lokia Felhard is in the second place, and Nakai the Wanderer manages to, well, I would say rush into the third place after Drados the Ashen loses to Orion. So Orion, Lokia Felhard, and Nakai the Wanderer are gonna go into the winner's bracket of the Grand Tournament. Drados the Ashen might be able to also go into the winner's bracket, as two best participants that are going to be at rank 4 are going to go directly into the upper brackets of the final tournament. I think the Slaughterer and Eltharion the Grim are going into the losers bracket of the final tournament. Teklas and Volkmar the Grim, they'll have to take part in the next qualifier to make sure they manage to qualify for the grand event. And we say goodbye to our first 2 contenders who are going to leave us. That is Kairos Fateweaver, who actually managed to score 1 victory, and Marathi, who managed to draw with Volkmar the Grim. So not the worst performance, but they're not really melee lords. They're not suited for this tournament. So we're saying goodbye to them, and let us jump into Group 2. Let us jump into the second group and look at the standings before we begin with the final matches. Malus Darkblade in the first place, undefeated, 4 wins. He is leading the group, unsurprisingly, a very, very strong lord. Thorgrim Grudgebearer and Alistair the White Lion are still, and Leon Licker and Karl Franz actually, and a lot of people are still fighting for the second place. I think Thorgrim is a little bit ahead, but we'll see how that goes for him. And Alariel the Radiant and the Oxyotl are the ones who are at the threat of leaving this competition. So let's jump into the matches and see how they go. Let us jump into the first match. This is going to be Malice Darkblade versus Thorgrim Grudgebearer. Malice is slowly charging into Thorgrim. Thorgrim is also charging into Malice. I don't think he has expert charge defense. No, so there's no reason for him to stand in place. Malice is charging into Thorgrim, and let's see how this matchup goes. Thorgrim has a very nice base weapon damage, but he doesn't have a lot of armor piercing, and I think this might not play in his favor in this matchup. Malice, a very nice lord without even turning into Zarkan. 25% ward save, that is from the blood price, and the warp sword of Cain gives giving him health per second, and also 5% ward save. He's debuffed by the Oath of Vengeance, so let's speed this matchup up and see how that goes. Malice is down to... he is actually taking a lot of damage, so I think he's gonna have to resort to his transformation. Thorgrim's down to 5500, and Malice, yeah, he's actually percentage-wise, I would say they're probably at the same level, and that is even without Malice transforming into the Lord. I'm not really sure how Thorgrim is managing to hit him with his hammer because, well, let's be honest, this is going to go in the book, but he doesn't have enough reach. And Malice, yeah, that's what you should be doing. You should be jumping at your opponent. I'm not sure if Thorgrim can jump with his throne at Malice, but Malice down to 2400. Thorgrim is sitting at, I would say, rather comfortable 5200. Malice is taking damage slowly. He's not landing any hits so far. He's down to 1500. 1200. Malice is going to have to transform into Zarkan, and there it is. Zarkan, ladies and gentlemen. He does have the Reaper of Souls. He does have the Bloodstorm. A few nice buffs to heal himself up a little bit, but as you know, Zarkan is always taking damage per second, so if Thorgrim Grudgebearer manages to outlast him just a little bit, that should be enough. Thorgrim is down to 3200, Malice is 4600. Thorgrim is, I think he is managing to land his hits now. Thorgrim is down to 2300, Malice is at 4300, and it looks like, yeah, I think Malice is gonna take this. And the second match, it's not gonna be an issue for Malice. He's gonna have to transform in both of the matches, but Thorgrim just doesn't do enough damage quick enough to Malice to bring him down. This is going to be 2-0 for Malice. Let's look at the next match, and again it is the battle in the skies. King Lewin Linker versus Alistair the White Lion. Let's look at both of them and compare these two. Alistair the White Lion has a lot more health on his Star Dragon, but Lewis Linker obviously has regeneration, that's gonna help him, and a few nice abilities like Stand Your Ground for Seeker, and obviously the Blessing of the Lady, 15% ward save. That is nothing to sneeze at. Alistair, the White Lion, has Heroic Killing Blow and the Potion of Foolhardiness, which he used to slightly improve his charge bonus. Let's see how the fight goes between these two. Looks like Lewis Linker is taking quite a bit of damage. He's down to 3700, Alistair is 6200, so he has a lot more health. Stats-wise, Alistair has a little bit more melee attack and weapon strength and health, so it looks a little bit better for him, but the regeneration, the 15% ward save, I think that might play in King Lewin Linker's favor. The fight continues between these two, and it looks like Lewin is taking a lot of damage, but not enough that he cannot regenerate it a little bit back. He's down to 1900. Alistair is at 4000 health. That is a lot. I thought Lewin would do a lot more damage quicker to Alistair the White Lion, but looks like that's not the case. Let's look at the regeneration rate. It's just 6 health per second, so not really the highest regeneration rate that we've seen on this tournament. Lewin is down to 1600, but it looks like Alistair the White Lion is not landing his strikes, and Lewin is already at 1700. He managed to regenerate almost 100 health, and his healing cap is approaching, so I think this is soon going to be it for King Lewin. Alistair the White Lion is down to 2100. Lewin is at 1800 health, 1500 health. Alistair is at 1800, a very close matchup. Lewin always managed to bring him down to the same level of health as he has, which is kind of surprising, but I guess Alistair the White Lion, the problem he has is that he is getting his melee defense debuffed a lot, which doesn't serve him, and he doesn't have regeneration, he doesn't have ward save, and If he misses a few of his strikes on King Lewin Linker, then Lewin Linker can get ahead of him very easily. So right now, Lewin Linker is behind, but they are almost at the same health levels. 1200. King Lewin Linker is using his... let's look at what he is using. He is using his stand your ground ability, and that's giving him 74 melee defense. Alistair the White Lion doesn't have anything going on at the moment. 1200 versus 1300. Yeah, that is almost the exact stats between these two. Let's continue watching this match and let's speed it up a little bit. 900 versus 400. I think look, he's wavering, and yeah, he loses this matchup. A very close match between these two, and I think he looks awesome on his Griffin mount. And here is Alistair the White Lion again, sitting in a very uncomfortable throne. I think he should be doing what King Lewin Linker is doing, but despite his more convenient position, King Lewin Linker loses the first match. Let's look at the second match between these two, as again they charge into each other. King Lewin Linker charges into Alistair the White Lion. Again, takes quite a bit of damage, but he has his regeneration, he has his ward save. He needs to win this one to get his very precious half a point and to turn this into a tie. King Lewin Linker is taking a lot of damage this time. He's down to 3900. Alistair is sitting at very convenient 6600 health. So King Lewin Linker, and this time Alistair stopped landing the strikes, so King Lewin Linker has a bit of time to regenerate back his health. He's down 3100 versus 4100, 2800 versus 3700. They are still fighting. It's a very slow battle without any huge swings to one to the other side, but very close matchup between these two. 3000 health versus 100 and 700 health, so Alistair the White Lion looks to be in the lead for now, but he's getting, I think he's getting debuffed by the Sword of Koron, which gives him minus armor, minus melee defense. I think that is a very nice ability for Lewin Linker, because not only can he buff himself up, he can debuff his opponents, and sometimes debuffing your opponents and giving them less melee defense is one of the best tactics in this tournament. So King Lewin Linker and they have the same levels of health. Alistair is down to 1600. King Lewin Linker is at 1100 health. So a very close match between these two. That could go either way, but I think, well, it's hard to say who's going to win at this stage. 1300 versus 1200 between these two. Almost the same stats. Lewin Linker has magical attacks. That doesn't really help in this match. 1200 versus 1300. Very close battle. That can go either way. The difference is 10 hit points between these two. No, the difference is already less. It was around 1 hit point. Alistair takes a nasty swing from Lewin Linker, and he misses his swing. So the king also takes gets a swing. So he's down to 900. Alistair the White Lion is at 1000 health. 900 versus 700. He is starting to waver. -7 leadership. Is it gonna be enough for King Lewin Linker? No, I think he's gonna recover from that. He has 15 leadership, so he's back in the game. King Lewin Linker is already, and no, he manages to land the final strike, and this is going to be a 1-1 for this battle in the skies. A very nice match between these two. Both of them get half a point for this very wonderful draw. Let's look at the other matches in Group 2. So, Alariel the Radiant loses to Skarsnik. Obviously, as Skarsnik is definitely much better fighter than Alariel. Oxyotl loses to Thorg Ironbrow, and Karl Franz manages to beat Tretch Craventail. So here are the final standings. Malice Darkblade, our first Lord that didn't lose a single match. He got the full 5 points, 5 victories, going straight into the winners bracket alongside with Alistair the White Lion and Thorgrim Grudgebearer. Karl Franz, Lewin Linker, both in the 4th and the 5th place, so we'll see how it goes with them. And Skarsnik and Tretch Craventail are going to have to go into the qualifier. As for Alariel the Radiant and Oxyotl, again, not really the best melee lords, and we're going to have to say goodbye to them. Alariel managed to score 1 victory over, I think that was, that was against Oxyotl, so she managed to do a little bit better than the other lords, and Oxyotl, melee is not his forte. So goodbye Alariel, goodbye Oxyotl, and let's jump into the next group. So here it is, Group 3, and here are the standings before the final day. Kolik Saniter in first place without any losses so far, Miao Ying and Boris Todbringer following him in his footsteps, and Malachi Makaisen and the Fey Enchantress are about to leave this group. I'm pretty sure the Fey Enchantress is the one to leave, but Malachi Makaisen still has a chance if he manages to beat Salostra, dive in this group. So let's jump into the matches. Alright, let's jump into the first match. This is going to be Miao Ying versus Kolik Sun Eater, the undefeated leader of Group 3. Miao Ying is going to transform into her dragon form and charge into Kolik, so let's see how that goes for her. And looks like, no, the charge didn't work that well against Kolik. Kolik is just a beast of a lord with almost 1000 damage and bonus versus large. That is just a death formula for Miao Ying. 30 bonus versus large here, 90 melee attack. Miao Ying doesn't have any buffs, and Kolik is just landing strike after strike. I don't think this matchup is going to go for a while between them. Kolik takes a little bit of damage. He's down to probably 2/3 of his health, but Miao Ying is already wavering and she loses this match. She's not really a match for Kolik Sun Eater. Let us jump into the second match between these two. I think Miao Ying this time is going to try to go on foot. Maybe not the best decision, but maybe also not the worst decision, because this anti-lash bonus that Kolik has is just a lot, so maybe this will help Miao Ying. She didn't do well at all in the dragon form, so she's now trying to fight Kolik on foot. She uses the rest of the storm, which gives her plus 24 melee weapon strength, and looks like, let's speed this up, and looks like this time she's lasting a little bit better. Kolik just pummels her away with his Star Crusher hammer, and he lands a few nasty strikes. Kolik is down to, well, he is almost at full health. Miao Ying is already at half health. She needs to do something, but she doesn't have any ability, she doesn't have anything else going on for her, so she just can hope to outmatch Kolik in the melee combat, but doesn't look like she is really a match. Kolik is down to 6300, Miao Ying is at 3000 health, so I think she's doing a little bit better this time. Kolik is not landing as many strikes, he's knocking her away, and again knocking her away, but yeah, looks like she's down to 2500, Kolik has a 5500, so she's doing better this time, doing more damage to Kolik Sun Eater, but that is not going to be good enough. And look at the size difference between these two. Kolik Sun Eater takes a 2-0 victory over Miao Ying. Let's look at the next match. This is going to be Boris Todbringer representing the Empire versus Tehenhauen on his Stegadon Engine of the Gods. A lot of weapon strength, but not really very good melee stats. Boris charges into Tehenhauen, and let's see how the match goes. Boris has a regeneration. Boris has Deadly Onslaught, he has Foe Seeker, he has Hold the Line ability, he has everything that he needs. He's getting poisoned a little bit. Tehenhauen, let's see, he has the Potent of Warding, 5% ward save. Pretty nice thing. And Blade of the Serpent Tongue, that poisons Boris, so another good ability. He is getting debuffed. -8 melee attack, that's really not good for Tehenhauen, who already doesn't have very high stats. And let's speed this match a little bit to see how that goes. And as you can see, this is a very long match as Boris is just chipping away at Tehenhauen's health. Boris himself is not really taking any damage. He's almost staying at full health. We're gonna speed this up more as this match already goes into the 4th minute, and you can see Tehenhauen doesn't manage to do anything to Boris. Boris is just chipping away at his health. 1 health bar at a time. He's doing a little bit more damage, and almost in 5 minutes Boris manages to score this victory against Tehenhauen, and he's also going to win the second match. I mean, regeneration is just too good in these matchups when you're fighting opponents who don't do a lot of damage very quickly, so 2-0 for Boris Todbringer. Let's finally look at one of the unusual matches, Malachi Makaisen versus Lostra Diaphin. Malachi really needs his victory. He has 5000 less health, he has no armor, but he's still going into this battle as a true Slayer, and see if he manages to do something against Celostra Dive on Heroic Promethean. Looks like Celostra is, yeah, she's losing a little bit of health, but Malachi needs to do much better. He obviously doesn't have really good stats. He's unbreakable, which is very nice, but he doesn't have a lot of weapon strength, and he doesn't have a lot of armor-piercing damage against 150 that Celostra has. I don't think that's going to be enough for Malachi Makaisen, and looks like he is going to go down in this matchup without really doing much to Celostra. So Celostra wins this one. She's going to also take the second one, so it's going to be a 2-0 for Celostra Dive-In. So here are the other matches in Group 3. Enchantress loses to High Queen Khalida, just as expected, and in the last matchup, Arkan the Black cannot beat the mighty dragon of the Sisters of Twilight. So here are the final standings. Kolek Sanita, Boris Todbringer, and Miao Ying are going to go directly into the upper bracket, maybe alongside the Sisters of Twilight. Celostra Dive-In and High Queen Khalida going into the lower bracket. Tekken Hawin and Arkan the Black, out of all the people, surprisingly, Arkan the Black managed to climb into the next qualifier, and Malachi Makaisen and the Enchantress are going to leave this tournament. This was Group 3. Let's jump into the next one. Let's look at Group 4 and the standings before the final day. Emmerich, the only one in this group without any losses in the first place. Grombrindle, Luther Harkan, Azazel, and Gorog. All of them have 3 victories and 1 tie, so a very, very close competition for the second place, and maybe even the first place. Malekith, Isabella von Karstein, Draika, and Marcus Wolfhard all also have the same score with 1 victory and 3 losses, so they are all fighting for the chance to get into the qualifier. And Heinrich Kemmler, the shadow leader of this group, is not doing too well. He lost all the matches. So let's jump into the matches and see how they go. The first match is the battle of the white heads. Imrek, with his very white hair, against Grombrindle, who is also the white dwarf. Let's see who has the better white hair out of these two. Imrek is charging into Grombrindle, but Grombrindle has expert charge defense, so the first part should not be too scary for him. Imrek goes into battle. Grombrindle buffed himself up to very nice stats, 700 melee attack, 69 melee defense, but Imrek is already at 100 melee attack, 700 weapon strength, and looks like he manages to land a few nasty hits on Grombrindle. Grombrindle is already, well, he is almost down to 2300 health. He is very debuffed by Imrek. That is, yeah, that's not looking good for Grombrindle, the white dwarf. Let's continue watching this match. He's down to 1800. Imrek is pretty much still at full health, maybe 3/4. It looks like Grombrindle is managing to stabilize the match a little bit. He's down to 1000 health versus 6000 health. He's down to 2000. He's unbreakable, but is that going to be enough against Imrek? No, Imrek is going to take this match and the next one against Grombrindle. Grombrindle is just not doing enough damage to the mighty Star Dragon. This is going to be 2-0 for Imrek and Kalidor. Let's jump into another battle in the skies. This time is going to be Luther Harkan versus Azazel. Let's look at them as both of them charge into each other. Azazel has much better stats, but a lot less armor. He's debuffed to 0 armor by Luther Harkan, and he's also silenced. Just to remind you, Luther Harkan silences his opponents, and they cannot use anything. They can use something in advance. So Azazel used his Demon Blade and the Temptator ability, but he won't be able to use them for a while. And Luther Harkan lands a few nasty strikes on Azazel. He's down to 4500. Luther Harkan is also taking the damage, but he is regenerating it at 16 health a second. That is a huge regeneration rate. So Luther Harkan is doing quite well compared to Azazel and some other regenerating lords. Let's look at this battle as it continues. Luther Harkan is down to 3800, Azazel is at 2600. His 5 armor is not really working out for him, and he cannot use any of his abilities as he is again silenced and disrupted. He's losing his physical resistance. He's down to 10% physical resistance. Another very nice thing for Luther Harkin, as he doesn't have magical attacks, he just has poison. He's also poisoning Azazel on the heads, so Azazel is taking a lot of damage. Luther Harkin is at 3000 health. Azazel is down to 900. Not looking good for him. His leadership recovers a little bit, but he just cannot use anything. He's down to minus 55 leadership. Looks like he's gonna go down. Luther Harkin takes the victory over Azazel in the first match. Let's look at the second match and see if maybe Azazel can do something as Luther Harkin. He uses his Temptator and his Demon Blade in advance, and let's keep looking at the health bars as looks like he's doing damage to Luther Harkin, that's for sure. Luther Harkin is down to 4900, Azazel is at 3400, but again he's poisoned, he's disrupted, he has all the disadvantages compared to Luther Harkin, who is generating his health slowly. Luther Harkin takes quite a bit of damage in this one. He's down to 3100, Azazel is 2100. So a very close matchup. And again, if Azazel had more armor, I think that would really work well against somebody. Well, maybe not against Luther Harkin because he has a lot of armor piercing weapon damage, but 5 armor, yeah, that doesn't seem to be enough. And without his abilities, he's not really doing that well. He's already wounded. Luther Harkin is not, and Azazel goes down to 0 health. He's wavering, he's losing his leadership, and he's going to go down 2-0 for Luther Harkin. So here are the other matches in Group 3. Enchantress loses to High Queen Khalida, just as expected, and in the last matchup, Arkan the Black cannot beat the mighty dragon of the Sisters of Twilight. So here are the final standings. Kolek Sanita, Boris Todbringer, and Miao Ying are going to go directly into the upper bracket, maybe alongside the Sisters of Twilight. Celeste Dive-In and High Queen Khalida going into the lower bracket. Tekken Hawin and Arkan the Black, out of all the people, surprisingly, Arkan the Black managed to climb into the next qualifier, and Malachi Makaisen and the Faint Enchantress are going to leave this tournament. This was Group 3. Let's jump into the next one. Let's jump into Group 5, one of the more fun groups to watch in this tournament, and here are the standings before the final day. Tamur Khan in the first place, but just barely. Grimgo Ironhide, Angry Iron Fist, and Telrox are following up him. Balthazar Gelt and Alithanar kind of expectedly in the last place, but it's going to be a very close fight. Who see who is going to be in the first place and who is going to go into the qualifier. So let's see how that goes for our participants and jump into the matches. Let's jump into the first match. This is going to be Grimgo Ironhide versus Angrim Iron Fist. Two lords who are actually very close to each other in the real world. So let's see how they match up. 120 armor for both of them, very close stats. Angrim Iron Fist, he takes a lot of damage. He goes down to 0 melee defense, full weapon strength, 1000. He's going Super Saiyan on Grimgor. Grimgor has 79 melee defense and 94 melee attack compared to 0 melee defense for Angrim. I don't think the Red Ruin is doing that well for him. He's just taking a lot of damage. I cannot see his health bar. It's covered by his banner, but it looks like he's down to 1200 health. Grimgor is almost at full health. Angrim is going down to 400. Yeah, that was probably not a good move on his side. Looks like Grimgor is gonna take this here. Almost Angrim manages to last on 1 health. No, he doesn't. Grimgor takes the victory in this match, and yeah, look at that. Angrim is finally we have a fallen opponent in the matchup. No, not like the final killing blow. This is after the match, so well done, Grimgor. Let's look at the second attempt between these two. Grimgor again is charging into Angry Iron Fist, and Grimgor is, I think he is the lord who has the most abilities that he can use on himself in this tournament. He has like 5 or 6, so he's using the best of the best. He's using the standing ground, he's using everything. He's going down, he's going Super Saiyan. So does Angrim. He goes down to 1000 damage. He needs to land the strikes on Grimgor, but Grimgor is also small. That is another thing that's not in Angrim's favor, because he has a huge bonus versus large, but Grimgor, despite his size, he's not large for some reason, so Angrim is not again landing a lot of strikes. Grimgor goes down to approximately half health, but Angrim is already down to 700, and he really needs to equalize this. He's down, and no, I don't think he's going to be able to make this one. Yeah, again, a very, very epic final shot in this matchup, as there's a small lake of fire below these two, and Grimgar is going to take this one 2-0 for Grimgar. Let's look at another one of the lords who likes to go to 1000 weapon strength and 0 melee defense. This is going to be Kron Helebron versus Tamurkhan, the Maggot Lord. Let's watch as Kron Helebron slowly charging into Tamurkhan, and there she goes. She charges into. She's going to use all her buffs. 729 weapon strength, 100 melee attack. She does poison damage. She's almost at 1000 weapon strength. Let's see if that's going to be enough against Tamurkhan, the Maggot Lord. And looks like not really, because Tamurkhan has so much health. Kron Helebron is down to 3400, Tamurkhan is at 8200, so she's holding up a little bit against Tamurkhan. He's down to 7200, but looks like Kron Helebron is going to have her hangover. She's out of the buffs that she had. She is getting, let's look at the blood frenzy she's getting. Yeah, she's getting more armor piercing damage, up to 25%, but yeah, that's not really much of a buff. She's down to 1000 health compared to a lot of health for Tamurkhan the Maggot Lord, who's going to take this match and the next one. Kron Helebron is not really a match for him. 2-0 for Tamurkhan. So here are the other matches in Group 3. Fey Enchantress loses to High Queen Khalida, just as expected, and in the last matchup, Arkan the Black cannot beat the mighty dragon of the Sisters of Twilight. So here are the final standings. Kolek Sanita, Boris Todbringer, and Miao Ying are going to go directly into the upper bracket, maybe alongside the Sisters of Twilight. Celeste Divin and High Queen Khalida going into the lower bracket. Tekken Hawin and Arkan the Black, out of all the people, surprisingly, Arkan the Black managed to climb into the next qualifier, and Malachi Makaisen and the Fey Enchantress are going to leave this tournament. This was Group 3. Let's jump into the next one. Let's jump into Group 6 and watch the standings before we go into the matches. Kuguth Plaguefather undefeated so far in the first place. Krogar and Vlad von Karstein are sharing the second place between them, and they are actually going to compete between them to determine who's the better one. Grises and Elspeth and Throw Their Clean are also fighting for the third place, so a very packed group. And Serena Katarine, surprisingly, in this round is in the last place. She really needs to win the match that she has, that's going to be against Malagor, to basically save her life and maybe somehow crawl into the qualifier. So let's jump into the matches and see how they go. Starting with the first one, we have Krogar against Vlad von Karstein. Both of them are charging into each other. Let's see how that goes. And yeah, Krogar jumps with his T-Rex, or is it not a T-Rex? It is a Carnosaur, I guess, but he looks like a T-Rex. And the battle begins. Vlad is not doing much, but Krogar, he has so many buffs. He has so many debuffs. He has Master of Beguilement, minus 40 melee attack, but he has the Sacred Spawning of Xotl, 20% ward save, minus 4 leadership from Vlad. He has Frenzy, so he is very nicely prepared against Vlad. Vlad has his regeneration, 16 health per second, nothing to sneeze at, so let's continue watching the match between these two. As Krogar and Vlad has 70 melee attack and 50 melee defense. That is even unbuffed, so these are very nice stats. Krogar seems to be landing a lot more strikes on Vlad that Vlad is managing to do to Krogar. And I think the mistake that we saw previously, and that was between Throg and Nakari, is that knocking down your opponent who is regenerating is not a good idea, because he has more time to regenerate. Krogar is down to 4600, Vlad is at 1900 health. So it looks like Vlad is taking a lot more damage than he can regenerate in this match. Vlad is down to 1800. Krogar, Vlad again is at 1000 health. Krogar is down to 3000. So I think Vlad is going to go down. Yeah, he's not going to be able to take this one. Krogar wins the first match between these two. Let's look at the second match, as again Krogar charges into Vlad, who is on foot, doesn't have any mounts, and has very few buffs. He has a very nice debuff for his opponents, that is the Master of Beguilement, that gives minus 40 melee attack. Krogar won't be able to land any hits for a while on Vlad, and let's see how this one goes. Kroger is almost at full health, so is Vlad. This time, both of them are not inflicting too much damage on each other. Very, very peaceful matchup. Kroger obviously debuffed. He's back from the debuff. Vlad doesn't have any buffs, but he does have his regeneration going on, so this time he manages to land a few very nice strikes on Krog. Krog is using his Sacred Spawning of Xodal and gets his minus... his 20% of ward save. Kroger also has Frenzy, so he has very nice buffs, but he is knocking Vlad down, which is not a very good tactic, so let's see. Again, Vlad is down to 3200 health, and his healing cap is slowly approaching. Kroger is down to 4600 health, so percentage-wise, Vlad I think is a little bit ahead, and Kroger again is debuffed to his just measly 25 melee attack. That's not going to be good enough to land any strikes on Vlad. He's down to 70 melee attack. Vlad flies away, and again, as we said, this is not a good tactic. Vlad is still at 3100 health. Krogda is down to 3500, so very close matchup between these two. He's down to 2800, missing his strikes against Vlad. He's down to 2200. Vlad is at 3000, so Vlad is again leading against Kroger. Kroger is down to 1700. Is he gonna waver? No, I don't think he will. He has 33 leadership. Vlad is at 47, so a very close match between these two. This time around, Vlad is doing much better. Kroger is using his buffs to buff himself up a little bit. 70 melee attack, 50 melee defense, and 90 armor. And look at that. Vlad manages to land one final strike against Kroger, and Kroger goes down in this match. 1-1 between these two. Let's look next at the match you've all been waiting for. Tsarina Katarine versus Malaga, the Dark Omen. If Tsarina Katarine doesn't win both of these matches, or at least one of them, she's gonna go down. Malagor charges into Tsarina Katarine, and the fight begins. Malagor has slightly better melee attack and melee defense. This Frostworm mount is not really it's not really that good, but also Tsarina on her bear mount was not performing well as well, so it's really hard to say what's the best solution for her. Tsarina is crawling into Malagor without doing any damage. What are you doing, Tsarina? You need to start hitting Malagor. There you go, with the first strike on Malagor. She misses him, and Malagor is taking a little bit of damage. Malagor is not really a good combatant. He doesn't have armor piercing, he doesn't have armor, he doesn't have anything. So that looks like Malagor is finally taking damage. He's down to 2800, Tsarina is 5700. Looks a little bit better for Tsarina this time than with her disastrous previous matches. It looks like she might be able to take this one. Malagor flies very far away from the strike from the first round. He's down to 2000 health. Tsarina is at 4800, 4500. But Malagor is already down to 1600, and Tsarina is down to 4000. Malagor managed to take half a health bar, but Tsarina finally wins this match. And look at that, what an impressive mount and such a terrible performance from the first perm. But Tsarina is gonna win this one, and she's also gonna win the second match against Malagor in the same fashion. 2-0 finally for Tsarina, some hope for Kislev. So here are the other matches in Group 3. Enchantress loses to High Queen Khalida, just as expected. And in the last matchup, Arkan the Black cannot beat the mighty dragon of the Sisters of Twilight. So here are the final standings. Kolek Sanita, Boris Todbringer, and Miao Ying are going to go directly into the upper bracket, maybe alongside the Sisters of Twilight. Stelos Dive-In and High Queen Khalida going into the lower bracket. Tekken Howin and Arkan the Black, out of all the people, surprisingly, Arkan the Black managed to climb into the next qualifier, and Malachi Makaisen and the Faint Enchantress are going to leave this tournament. This was Group 3. Let's jump into the next one. Let's go to Group 7 and look at the standings before the matches on this day. Skarsbrand the Exiled in the first place, no losses, just as expected. Yuan Bo in the second place, followed by Quick Head Taker, surprisingly, who's going to be facing Skarsbrand very soon. Elbrick Khan, Noctilus, Demon Prince of Korn, Araness's Allspite, and Lord Skrog and the Changeling are the ones who looks like are gonna be leaving us in this tournament. So let's jump into the matches. Let's answer the question you've all been waiting for. Can Quick Head Taker take the mighty Skarsbrand? Is the Dwarf Gouger enough to beat Skarsbrand? Skarsbrand has 5000 more health, more melee attack, more melee defense, 260 more weapon strength, more charge bonus, more everything, more leadership, just a little bit less armor, but is that gonna stop? Quick head taker, Quick uses some of his abilities, he is going down to 3,400 health. Skazbrand almost at full health. Quick, buttoning still up to very nice stats, 90 melee attack, 70 melee defense, 590 weapon strength. Skazbrand is taking damage, he's down to 7,300. Quick is still at almost 2/3 of his health. Actually, Skazbrand looks like he's percentage-wise not doing as well as Quick. Come on, Quick, you need to get up, you need to get into the battle and see how that goes. Skazbrand lands a very nice strike against Quick, and let's see if Quick can actually do it without the buffs. Skazbrand is down to almost half health, but Quick is taking a lot of damage now. Skazbrand is gonna take this match. He's gonna also take the next match against Quick. Quick is not a match for the mighty Skazbrands. Let's look at another unusual match in this group. This is going to be Aranessa versus Lord Skrolk. Let us compare the combatants. Aranessa has almost the same health, a little bit less melee attack, more melee defense. Bonus versus large, but Skrolk is not large. Both of them charge into each other. Skrolk is using his very nasty things, the Liber Bubonicus, and the second ability that does a little bit of damage to Aranessa. Aranessa, percentage-wise, she does a little bit more damage to Skrolk, I think, but she's not letting her strikes, and if she doesn't do it quick enough, Quick is again going to use his magic on Aranessa. Aranessa does have a 20% ward save. That is a very nice ability that she can toggle on, but let's look at that. Skrolk is down to 2,400, Aranessa is at 2,800. A very close match between these two. She buffs up her weapon damage with the Old Hands Foray. Army of Pestilence is giving her -5 melee attack, so Skrolk is doing his dirty work. He got debuffed by the Spear's vicious nets and he couldn't move. Aranessa is still at 2,500. Skrolk is there we go. Rod of Corruption is doing almost 250 damage per second. Very nasty ability. Liber Bubonicus doing again more damage to Aranessa. Skrolk is fighting with all his Skaven might. He is not a melee lord, but he knows it. He knows he can use his abilities to win this match. He's down to... he has 13 leadership, so he's 1,000 health. He has 1,000 health less than Aranessa. But can he make a comeback? He's at -2 leadership. No, it doesn't look like he can. The poisonous green cloud that is spreading from Skrolk will not be enough to take Aranessa. Aranessa is gonna win this and the second match against Lord Skrolk. 2-0 for Aranessa. Let's look at the other matches. The Changeling is going to lose to the Demon Prince. Satyr the Imperishable loses to Albrecht, and Yuan Bo wins against Count Noctilus without any trouble. So here are the final standings. Skazbrand the Exiled, Yuan Bo, and Albrecht are gonna go into the winners brackets. Quick Head Taker, not really good performance, so I don't think he is gonna go into the winners bracket. So Quick Head Taker, the Demon Prince, and Aranessa are gonna go into the losers bracket. Satyr the Imperishable and Count Noctilus are the ones that are going into the qualifier, and Lord Skrolk and the Changeling are leaving us. That was it for Group 7. Let's jump into the next group, one of my favorite groups, the second group of death, and look at the standings before the final day. Tyrion in the first place without any losses, Durthu followed closely by Nekari, who are gonna fight between themselves in the first round, followed by Beliger Ironhammer, Valkyria the Bloody, Deathmaster Snitch, Red Duke, Throg, who is in the 8th place. Throg is not doing too good with his 3 draws, the most amount of draws anybody had in this tournament. Ikit Claw and Helmut Gorst. Helmut Gorst got probably in the worst group that he could find. They are in the last places. So let us jump into the matches. Let's jump into the first match. This is going to be Nekari versus Durthu. Let us compare these two. Durthu has more health, a lot more armor, almost the same melee attack, melee defense, weapon strength, so not really much of a difference. Both of them have magical attacks negating any physical resistance, and they charge into each other. Let's look at that. Durthu falls from the power of charge of Nekari. Nekari is down to 0 armor, but he has 1,000 weapon damage, more than 1,000 actually. He is going up to, well, it's not 9,000, but it's a lot of damage. 70 melee attack, very nice. Durthu is down to just 8 melee defense, completely debuffed by Nekari. but let's see if Durso can make a comeback. Let's see if he has any abilities that he can use. He has Frenzy. Nakari also doesn't have anything going on for him, so Durso has less, well, he has less melee defense, but he has a little bit more melee attack, so maybe that will work in his favor and speed up this matchup. Nakari is landing very nice strikes against Durso, but he's also taking a lot of damage, and 15 armor is not helping. Even if damage is armor piercing, still having more armor is a very nice thing. So Nakari is at 3900, Durso is down to 4500. Let's continue watching the battle between these two juggernauts. And looks like Nakari is taking a lot more damage than Durso. Nakari is down to 2400, Durso is at 4500. Durso is just a little bit higher in his melee attack, but maybe his 110 armor is really helping against Nakari, because he's still negating quite a significant portion of the damage. Both of them have most of the damage as armor piercing, but as it says, you can see the armor piercing damage mostly ignores the target armor, but it still is getting a little bit offset by the armor. So Nakari is down to 1400. Durso is at 3100. He lands a very nice strike on Nakari. He's down to 900. Durso falls back down. A very, very rare picture. Durso, let's look at the masses. 4000 versus... And they actually have the same weight, so I'm not sure why Durso is falling and Nakari is not. So Durso is down to 2100. Nakari tries to land a strike. No, he misses it. Then he misses a very nice strike from Durso. His leadership is wavering, and it looks like Nakari is gonna lose this one. 1-0 for Durso. Alright, let's look at the second match between these two. Nakari charges into Durso. Is Durso gonna fall down? No, he stands his ground this time. Durso is down. Nakari is up to 1000 melee strength, but knocking down your opponents, as we figured out, is not the best tactic. And this time looks like Nakari is managing to land a lot more strikes on Durso. Durso is already down to 7300. Nakari is at 6800, so they are almost at the same health, but this time Nakari is just landing strike after strike on Durso. He's almost at full health. Durso is taking quite a pummeling this time. He manages to land a nice strike on Nakari, but he's down to 4200. Nakari is again at 4200, but Durso is going down a little bit quicker than Nakari this time. He's down to 3100. Nakari is at 3700. Looks a little bit better for Nakari. He debuffs Durso with Willing Prey, and this is, I think, very nice timing for Nakari, as he really needs this final boost. Well, actually, it's not really working for him, is it? He's down to 2300. Durso is at 2000. Again, they're almost at the same amounts of health. And Nakari just is not landing his strikes. He has 70 melee attack, 1000 weapon damage. Yeah, there we go. The strike that might end this match. Durso is down to 1200. Nakari is 2300. He needs to land one more strike on Durso. He is taking damage. Can he land the final strike? Or is Durso going to be able to make the comeback? We haven't talked about animations, but animations maybe play a large role, because Durso seems to be 1600 for Nakari versus 1200 for Durso. Durso is going to take this one. I can't believe it. Durso got debuffed so much by Nakari, but looks like, well, if you go either way, Durso is down to 1200, Nakari is at 1600. 1600 versus 1200. Yeah, Durso is down to 900. Maybe this is gonna be it. He is wavering a little bit. No, Nakari needs one more strike, and Nakari lands it. I have no idea what I'm looking at. That's like Nakari inside of Durso or something. Jesus Christ. But yeah, 1-1 between these two. I think that's a pretty fair result of what we've seen so far, and a very, very fun match between these two. Let's watch the next match. This is going to be Deathmaster Snitch versus Beliga Ironhammer. Let's look at the stats. Beliga has a lot more health, 120 armor, and a lot more melee defense. Beliga is waiting for Akid to charge. Yes, that is allowed by the rules. If you have expert charge defense, you can just stand and wait for the enemy charge. There we go. Deathmaster Snitch is charging into Beliga, and let's see how this match goes. Let's speed this up a little bit, and looks like what's going on? Deathmaster Snitch is down to half health. Beliga is sitting at like 95% of health. Deathmaster Snitch is not able to do anything. He's down to, yeah, I think that's the problem. Deathmaster Snitch, he doesn't have 30 armor with this little health. Is not a recipe for success. And he loses the first, and he's gonna lose the second match between these two in the exact same way. And I feel so bad for Deathmaster Snitch. He's supposed to be the master assassin, but there are so few lords he can take on. with his he has less than 4,000 health. That is not enough to be an assassin in the setting. 2-0 for Belagar. Let's look at one of the final matches in this group. This is going to be Valkyrie the Bloody trying to get the first victory anybody has scored on Tyrion. Now let's look at her. She charges into Tyrion. She's going to use her Demon Shield. That gives her invulnerability. Tyrion sitting probably, in terms of like how much the Lord can buff himself up, Tyrion I think is one of the best in the whole tournament. More than 100 melee attack, almost 100 melee defense. 470 weapon strength, not really the best, but let's look at this match goes. And just to remind you, Tyrion has the secret ability Heart of Avalon, which gives him 25% extra hit points if he goes down. So very close match between these two so far. 26 for Valkyrie, 2800 for Tyrion. Looks like so far she has the bonus versus small, but Tyrion is not small in this matchup. So Valkyrie is down to 1600, Tyrion is at 2100, so apart from his healing, this is a very close match between these two. Let's slow this down. Valkyrie is down to 900, and she loses the first match to Tyrion. Let's look at the second match between these two again. Valkyrie is charging into Tyrion, who is waiting for her on the ground. Tyrion is gonna buff himself up again to his amazing stats. 100 in everything, that's the way to go. And let's see how this match goes between these two in the second round. Looks like almost the same health. Valkyrie is taking a little bit more damage. 35 versus 3800. Tyrion is not really going down. He's still managing to outlast Valkyrie. Valkyrie is a very nasty combatant. She has 64 melee attack, 55 melee defense, very nice weapon strength. So I think she's quite a match for Tyrion. This time, Tyrion's actually losing 500 health. Tyrion's losing almost 1,000 health compared to Valkyrie. So 2,000 versus 2,400. Let's continue watching this one. 2,100 versus... no, this time Valkyrie is starting to lose. So what a turnaround for Tyrion. Tyrion is still at 2,000 health. Valkyrie, I think she will have her Demon Shield maybe soon. She's down to 1,000 health. Tyrion is at 1,800. Let's see if Valkyrie can do anything. She has the Gaze of Corn and just a little bit more damage. That's not gonna be good enough. Tyrion is down to 646 health. I don't think that's gonna be enough for her. She's gonna, despite a very nice performance, she's gonna lose this matchup to Tyrion. 2-0 for Tyrion. So here are the other matches in Group 3. Fey Enchantress loses to High Queen Khalida, just as expected. And in the last matchup, Arkan the Black cannot beat the mighty dragon of the Sisters of Twilight. So here are the final standings. Kolek Sanita, Boris Todbringer, and Miao Ying are going to go directly into the upper bracket, maybe alongside the Sisters of Twilight. Celeste Dive-In and High Queen Khalida going into the lower bracket. Tekken Hawin and Arkan the Black, out of all the people, surprisingly, Arkan the Black managed to climb into the next qualifier, and Malachi Makaisen and the Fey Enchantress are going to leave this tournament. This was Group 3. Let's jump into the next one. Alright, here's Group 9, and here are the standings before the final day. And this is the only group that we have where 3 lords are competing for the first place. Be'lakor, Astragoth, Ironhand, and Rakath both have 4 victories and 1 loss, and they're gonna compete to see who's gonna be the best. Manfred von Karstein, Kastaltin, Ripans, and Tic-Tac-Toe with Lord Mazdamandia following them. Scrag the Slaughterer and Mother Sankhya looks like they are the candidates to leave this group, so let's jump into the matches. Let's jump into the first match. This is going to be Astragoth versus Kastaltin. Kastaltin is charging into Astragoth, who's running very quickly on his mechanical legs. And there we go. The match begins. Kastaltin is taking quite a bit of damage from Astragoth initially. Kastaltin has better stats, a little bit less melee defense, but Astragoth, he's just very tanky. 1,000, well, 1,000, oh, fortunately not 1,000, but 130 armor. He has the Black Hammer of Hashut to buff his weapon damage, and look at that, Kastaltin is taking a lot of damage. One swing takes almost, I would say, 20% of his health bar. Kastaltin obviously has his buffs, regeneration, healing, melee damage, and he's really gonna need it. He's just not landing his strikes on Astragoth. Despite having very nice melee attack, Kastaltin just cannot do anything to Astragoth for some reason. He's down to 2,700. Astragoth is still at 4,700, so Kastaltin really needs his buffs. There they go. He's using his healing melee attack, and he is already wavering. Astragoth is still at 3,300, and no, I don't think that's gonna be enough for Kastaltin. Astragoth is down 2,800. Well, maybe he will be able to actually make it. Astragoth is at 2800, Gastaltin is down to 1500. He's using Frenzy, he's using Urson's Ward, which is also a little bit more healing. How much healing can you get in this match? Astragoth is still at 2300 compared to Gastaltin, so Gastaltin is actually equalizing a little bit, but he took a very nice strike. Minus 55 leadership, he's gonna go down in this match. Let's look at the second match between these two. Gastaltin again is charging into Astragoth, and let's see how that goes for him. Again, he takes a lot of damage. Almost half of this health bar is gone in the first seconds. Astragoth didn't take almost anything. I'm not sure why Astragoth is doing so much damage. He has flaming attacks, so Gastaltin cannot heal that much, and Gastaltin, yeah, 40 melee defense is not a lot, but he has 150 melee attack, so he should be landing strike after strike on Astragoth, but that is not happening for some reason. Astragoth is a very comfortable 5,000 health. Gastaltin is down to 2,500, compared to 2,100 compared to, yeah, he's losing the ground. He's losing ground. He is down to 1,500. He just cannot do anything against Astragoth despite his seemingly good stats. Gastaltin is wavering and looks like he's gonna lose the second match. Let's see if, yeah, he's gonna lose 2-0 for Astragoth. Let's jump into another battle. In this case, in this group, Tic-Tac-Toe is trying to take on Rakath. Now, Rakath, I think he is a little bit better lord than Manfred, because Manfred lost to Tic-Tac-Toe, but Rakath has bonus versus large. He has ward save when a large enemy is in his presence. He has another ward save that he can use. He has more bonus versus large that he's just stacking up. And look at Tic-Tac-Toe. Tic-Tac-Toe is just taking a lot of damage very quickly. He's very buffed up, but let's see if he can match it up to Rakath. Rakath is down to... he is at 1,700 health. Tic-Tac-Toe is at 1,900. So looks like a... yeah, not really a close match between these two. Looks like Tic-Tac-Toe is gonna lose this one, and he will also lose the second one. Rakath is just a much stronger lord, so it's gonna be 2-0 for Rakath. And let's look at... yeah, again, why are they sitting in chairs? That's like so uncomfortable. You should just hold on to the dragon. I think that's just a much better position. So anyway, 2-0 for Rakath. So here are the other matches in Group 3. Fey Enchantress loses to High Queen Khalida, just as expected. And in the last matchup, Arkan the Black cannot beat the mighty dragon of the Sisters of Twilight. So here are the final standings. Kolek Sanita, Boris Todbringer, and Miao Ying are going to go directly into the upper bracket, maybe alongside the Sisters of Twilight. Celeste Divin and High Queen Khalida going into the lower bracket. Tekken Howin and Arkan the Black, out of all the people, surprisingly, Arkan the Black managed to climb into the next qualifier, and Malachi Makaisen and the Fey Enchantress are going to leave this tournament. This was Group 3. Let's jump into the next one. Alright, the final day of the final group. This is coming to an end, the first part of the tournament. What a ride it has been, and this is Group 10. Let us look at the standings. Archaon, the Ever-Chosen, is in the first place without any losses, followed by Boris Erskine and Epidemius. Zhao Ming, Wolfric the Wanderer, Sartorial, and Grom the Punch are in the next places. Jaden the Black, not really good doing, he is too good in this tournament. And then, looks like Festus the Leash Lord and Grenhyphen Katap are the ones who might be leaving us. So let's jump into the matches. Let's jump into the battle in the north. This is going to be Boris Ursus versus Wolfric the Wanderer. Let us compare these two. Wolfric has almost 2.5 times as much health as Boris, but he has more weapon strength but has less melee attack, melee defense. So let's see how that goes for Boris. Boris has a lot of buffs that he can use, and so does Wolfric. So let's see as they buff and debuff each other to insane amounts. Boris has Deadly Onslaught, Fury of Urson, Stand Your Ground, Force Seeker. It's so hard to track what's going on, and Wolfric has so many buffs. Sword of Torgal that gives him more base weapon damage. Fight or Die. He does a lot of damage to Boris Ursus. Boris is going down to 4,600 health, and Boris doesn't have any regeneration. He's down to 15 melee defense, and let's see how that goes. But I think percentage-wise they're at the same level, so Wolfric is trying to land more hits on Boris. Wolfric is out of buffs, and I think that might be a problem for him, because he really needs to get his melee attack, melee defense. He lands a few strikes on Boris, but he's down to... well, I would say around 40% of his health. Boris is almost at half, so I think Boris is doing a little bit better. Let's continue watching this one. Wolfric is down to 5,000 health. He's not landing too many strikes on Boris, and Boris again is using all of his buffs that he has Let's look at how that goes. Wolfric is down to 3,800. He's frostbitten. Boris is at 2,000, but he has the Deadly Onslaught. He's debuffed by the Hunter of Champions. Heroic Resilience, plus 14 melee defense when he has leadership less than 50%. So he seems to be beating Wolfric in the first match, and Boris takes the first match in this battle in the north. Let's jump into the second match between these two. Boris is charging into Wolfric again, and let's see how that goes. Wolfric again is riding his Mammoth because I think the Mammoth is the best mount Wolfric has, and this is the strongest version of Wolfric because he has so much damage, so much melee attack, a little bit of physical resistance, 1%. I think it's just better than on foot, so let's see how that goes. Boris is down to almost half health, look at that. Boris is down to 3,500. Wolfric is still sitting at a lot of health, but his buffs are out. And let's see how that is going to continue for Wolfric. He's not landing any strikes on Boris. Boris is 3,500. Wolfric is going down to 8,200. Boris is still sitting at 2,500. No, he's actually landing a few strikes on Boris, but I think Boris is equalizing very quickly in this match. Boris is down to 2,400. Wolfric is down to 3,600 versus 2,300. So Boris is doing a lot of damage versus Wolfric. Boris has a lot of buffs. He has the anti-large bonus 25. Very nice. He's down to 1,500. Wolfric is at... Look at that. Boris takes so much damage. A few lucky strikes from Wolfric. Boris is down to his last 1,000 health. But Wolfric is also down to 2,500 health. So let's see how this match goes between these two. Is a bear better than a mammoth? We don't know. So Wolfric is down to 1,400 health. Boris is down to... And he manages to land one of the winning strikes in the final, I guess, final seconds of this match. And Boris is gonna take it 2-0 for Boris Erskine. So here are the other matches in Group 3. Enchantress loses to High Queen Khalida, just as expected. And in the last matchup, Arkan the Black cannot beat the mighty dragon of the Sisters of Twilight. So here are the final standings. Kolek Sanita, Boris Todbringer, and Miao Ying are going to go directly into the upper bracket, maybe alongside the Sisters of Twilight. Celeste Dive-In and High Queen Khalida going into the lower bracket. Tekken Howin and Arkan the Black, out of all the people, surprisingly, Arkan the Black managed to climb into the next qualifier, and Malachi Makaisen and the Faint Enchantress are going to leave this tournament. This was Group 3. Let's jump into the next one.